All available experts, please report to room A9.
Welcome back to Bottom Gear, mates.
Hello guys, Ecto here. Today I'm going to be doing another episode of easier modules. However, I will try and explain these in the best way possible. So let's start. Let's go in reading order here. So, this first one is Symmetries of a Square. So, the points are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, like so. And all you have to do is find where these 4 points end up being. You have to follow these in order. Sometimes if you do it in a different order, you'll get a different answer. So, but since they all end up on different last positions, you can do all of these one by one. Let's start with vertex 1 up here. This means flip across the horizontal axis. So we go from up here to down here. This is rotating 90 degrees counterclockwise. So we go from here to here. This means do nothing. This is basically a freebie one. You can actually get 3 do nothings here, but it's very rare. So, 1 gets flipped down here, then 90 degrees counterclockwise. Our first button to press is here. Let's do the same for the next ones. So next up, the 2 here. We go round, we flip across here, and then we go counterclockwise by 1. Clockwise 90 degrees. And we end up back where we started. That can still happen.
Emergency cleared. All personnel, please return to your stations.
Then it's just doing the same for... Do you know it's 1, 2, 3, 4, rather than 1, 2, 3, 4. So the next vertex is this one. We're going to be flipping over the axis here. The horizontal axis here. Going 90 degrees counter clockwise. We get to here. And then we could figure out what the 4th position is, but typically there is only one other possibility. But for consistency's sake, I should do the last one as well. 4 here, flips across the horizontal axis, once counterclockwise, and then do nothing. Our last button to press is here. And you get a self-module. The second module we're going to be looking at is OSU. The point of this is you're going to be finding the canvas or background that matches this title and creator. It gives you 2 options here for if you don't have an OSU account. If you do have an OSU account, you could just use this. I should be using this one as my preferred one of using. Let's look up burnt rice, brackets, feet, young Jemmy, and we're looking for the one that is Sean Wasabi and YDG and mapped by Scub Domino. This will always be the creator of the music, and this will always be the map creator. So this, we can click through these, and it will cycle through multiple different possible backgrounds. We find the one that matches the one for this one specifically because this is the Scub Domino one. So this is not it. Neither is this one. This one is the correct one. You press this grey button, which is where the text is to submit, and self the module. That's all that is to that one. His next module is 5-letter words. For this one, we're calculating the values of these 3 words, then pressing the highest scoring one when the lowest score is present on the last 2 digits of the timer here. So how do we calculate the score? Rather than using alphanumeric positions this time, we'll be using these tables. If there are more than 3 batteries, pots, indicators, publics, or battery holders, only one of these has to be true to use this top table. And as we can see here, we have 6 ports. That is greater than 3, so we'll be using this top table. If none of them are greater than 3, note greater than 3, not 3. So if you get 3, that does not apply. So we're going to be adding up all of these values, which are the M here, as we can see here, refers to an 8. The A refers to a 2. T refers to 4. E refers to 1. And Y refers to 4. Now we do this for the next 2 words as well. L is 6. I is 7. K is 2. I again is 7. And N is 2. Final word, Reka, is R is 5. A is 2. K is 2. E is 1. And R is 5. Now, throwing all of these into text field calculator, we get 19, 24, and 15. As I said before, we will be selecting the word with the highest value, in this case 24, aka the middle word, when the second to the bottom time is equal to the score of the lowest scoring word. So we can ignore this one because it's the middle scoring word. So we'll be pressing the middle button when the last 2 digits of the timer is 1-5, specifically in that order, 1-5. And that's self-module. The next module we'll be looking at is actually a sequel to another module in the game. This is Bottom Gear 2. Unlike Bottom Gear 1, instead of looking for the next tweet in a sequence, we'll be identifying a spoken quote and submitting Morse code due to that. So let's press this button and see what it says.
I'm dabbing on them fucking haters, James.
Yes, there is a bit of swearing in this, but so even though this doesn't look like what it is, we can recognise words from it. It's like I am, I'm, and hater. If you need to clarify, you can press the button to clarify what it should sound like.
I'm dabbing on them fucking haters, James.
So we know this is true. So we're going to be seeing this. Unlike other modules, instead of playing a beep sound to signify a dash, instead this will be, or just not playing anything, it's just over a certain time to it. If the module says poggers, that will tell you that you submitted a dash for this one. So you tap the button for a dash and hold it and wait for that sound cue to submit a dash. So it will submit dash dot 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 dash.
Poggers. Poggers. Two. Oh my god.
This is meant to be a ridiculous module. So because it's based on the internet thing of Bottom Gear. But anyway, let's move on to the next module. We have Mastermind Restricted. So this is effectively closer to actual Mastermind, where we're getting a sequence of 4 colours in a limited amount of guesses. So if we press query here, the numbers across here refer to how many we have in the right spot, how many we have guessed but not in the right spot, and how many guesses we have left. We have a total of 12 guesses. So we know there's one white. Let's assume that this white is our correct white. So let's change these to magenta instead. So we can assume that we might have been right for this one, but there are no more magentas, so let's change all these to yellows. We now have 2 correct. Let's assume that this first yellow is our correct yellow. Change these to green. We now have 3 correct, so we know that this one and this one are both correct. And one of these 2 is also correct. Let's assume this one is correct. Change this to red. So we now know that these 3 are correct, and this one is wrong. Or these 3 are correct, and that one's wrong. So let's assume that we have these 3 correct, and this one has to be a blue. And we have a self-module. There is a bit of leeway in how many guesses you get. Just if you do it in a smart way, you can get to the correct answer. If, however, you get to your final guess, and you're nowhere near getting the right one, you can press the reset button here to reset everything back to the start and generate a new puzzle. So you can dodge a strike if you don't think you're going to make it to the correct answer by pressing the reset button. This next module is Coprime Checker. If you've played Prime Checker, you know them. You're looking for prime numbers. Coprime is slightly different. Coprime numbers are numbers that are prime to each other, aka they do not share a factor. If you see a prime checker here, you look in this list to find if a number is prime. This one, you don't get given a grid. Rather, you're finding numbers that don't share any factors with each other, ignoring one, but not ignoring itself. So say we had 200 and 400 here, they would not be coprime because 400 has a factor of 200 and 100 as well. Anyway, so the factor nodes here are 897 and 200. There are many ways you can figure out if numbers are coprime. My preferred method is, if you have a scientific calculator, is typing them as a fraction and seeing if the fraction reduces. So this fraction does not reduce, meaning that they are in fact coprime, since there are no common factors that they could have taken out to reduce the fraction. This next one is 222 of 501 using the same method. This one does reduce, since they share a factor of 3 with each other. So these are not coprime. Last one, 231 and 396. These are not coprime with each other because they in fact share a factor of 33. Being 7 and 12 times 33 respectively. So press no coprime. After you complete 3 stages, like normal prime checker, you can solve the module. Like I said, there are a lot of ways you can do this, but that's my preferred method. Leave in the comments if you have any other possible methods. Okay, this next one is Baffling Box. Granted, this one looks a bit more daunting at first than some of these other ones, but it's very simple in concept. So, first to note, the axes they're referring to, as we see here, Y is top to bottom. This is the axes you're staring at the bomb at. So it will be this orange cube is the Y-axis. The x-axis is left to right, self-explanatory, is this red cylinder. And then front to back is, say you had this, if you took the bomb up like this green sphere is front to back axes, or the Z-axis. So, first, you see a amount of indicators to get direction. We have 2 lits here. So as you can see here, we're looking for the option that refers to more lits than unlits, which is this one. Using this is asking us to look at the Z-axis, which is, remember, is the front to back. This gives us, we're looking for the shape on this one, so this is a sphere. We use the sphere row here. Using the serial number, we have 9. This is odd, so we use the second column here. We can give it a list, X, Z, Y. We will be looking at the axes in this specific order, but looking for the colours rather than the shapes this time. So X is left to right, so we have red. Z is front to back, green. And Y is top to bottom, which is orange. Red, green, orange is what our final sequence is. Red, green, orange refers to this row in the table, which refers to 4. This 4 means if the 4 is the 10th digit of the timer, which is coming up, we press the submit button in the top left here. Basically, you press this top button, top right button, when the 10th digit, specifically this digit here, is the number you gain from this table. A 0 just means a 0 here, by the way. Sure, this module might be a bit clunky to look at, though, if you've got other modules on the bottom. So effectively, if you press this button again, it destroys the box so you can see clearer if it's blocking anything else. Our last module here is Cryptic Keypad. Side note, even though these tables are next to each other, imagine them as one on top of the other. You have to take 2 things here. The letter and the direction that the status light is pointing in. So this will be south, this will be west, because the little bar here is on the south and the west. So let's find each of these letters in their respective columns. This refers to north, east, south and west. So L south is here. P west is here. C south is here, and I south is here. We should now be submitting these buttons in reading order, such as going through this left table first in reading order, then the right table in reading order. So our buttons we're pressing is I, C, L, P. If you press an incorrect button during this, the module will strike and generate a new set of keys, so be careful. After you press the last button, you get set of modules. Hopefully this is a nice set of easier modules to add to your repertoire of modules you know in the game. And I'll see you guys in the next video.